Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 262, the UAW strike, the United Auto Workers strike. I know none of my viewers actually like the economic lectures I do. I kind of like economics, and it's kind of my hobby, and I wish more people would get into it. But here's the deal. I don't know if you saw today, and I don't have the numbers correct, by the way. I just know GM workers walked out today. I think it was something like 46,000 workers walked off the job, and they're going on strike. And GM stock took a 4.5% plummet today, which is not that big of a plummet when almost all of your American work crew steps off the job. And I'm thinking the union bosses have no clue about economics, because I don't know if anybody's been watching what happened to the inventory of new cars these days. Not virtually nobody's buying cars, but a lot less people are buying cars these days. And the inventory of new cars is going up. It's going up. It's going up. It's the biggest inventory that we've seen in, I guess, since the big Great Recession started in 2008, in a little bit over 10 years. And so therefore, the car companies need to shed some inventory. Well, how do you shed inventory when you have like 46,000 workers or more than that working, making new inventory? You can't. And so the deal is, I think probably all the high execs and the administrators and GM smiled today when the workers walked off the site, because they made all the hard decisions that the administrators, they don't need to make anymore. Because I'm certain layoffs are coming. I'm certain people are going to lose salary, and I'm certain people are actually, they're going to have to cut labor costs somehow, because the inventory of new cars has been increasing, and nobody's buying them. And therefore, they're going to have to actually cut the production of cars, meaning all the UAW people, until the inventory evaporates and they can make more cars. That's how companies work. It's a basic supply and demand. But nonetheless, all the UAW people walked off today, meaning they made the hard decision for the execs. Nobody needs to be laid off anymore because they walked off. And now all they have to do is let them not come back to work. You don't let the UAW come back to work. They get their crappy union benefits when they're unemployed and when they're laid off or when they're on strike. It's not enough to pay their bills. And you liquidate your inventory. And eventually, when the workers buckle and they need more money, they're going to actually come back, and they're probably going to negotiate a crappy UAW contract. I suspect the unions here, I think it went into grave error at a time when inventories are at the highest. I think probably all the administrators and execs at GM wanted people to be laid off, and they want them to go away. Well, the unions did the work for the workers, the unions did the work for the administrators and all the execs at GM. Now the unions essentially took away all the labor costs while all the GM inventory liquidates. And really, this is the greatest thing that could happen for the GM stockholders. And it's probably the worst thing that could happen for the UAW. So thank you, unions. You guys have to learn economics. You have to learn supply and demand. Now, here's the deal. Perhaps I'm wrong. I could be wrong, and I want to see what happens in the future. Maybe GM's going to buckle and hand out massive contracts and salaries to people. Maybe they will, and maybe I'm wrong about this stuff. But I suspect I'm not. And I suspect the UAW people that walked off the job today are going to lose their houses, and it might actually signal the beginning of a new recession. And so, anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe, get the Mass, pray the daily rosary. And just a reminder for everybody, economics is a very important part of running a large family. If you're a Catholic and you want to have more than 2 or 3 kids or something like that, you better start thinking about economics, supply and demand, and how money works. Because if you don't understand that, it's hard to run a family with more than 3 or 4 or 5 people. You name it. And so I think this little GM lecture, maybe I'm wrong about it. I could be wrong. I own some GM stock through my 401ks and stuff like that. But I could be wrong, and I don't particularly care if I'm wrong, but I suspect I'm right. And that's why I'm putting this on video. Start thinking about economics with your kids. Start thinking about economics with your spouse. Start thinking about economics with your friends, because if you can think about economics, you can cogently create a business plan. Then you can actually provide for a lot of kids. Anyway, well, take care. God bless. Live a sacramental life, and have a good night. Thanks. Bye.